All right, everybody, welcome back to another episode of Strangers Worth Meeting, coming at you from Las Cruces, New Mexico once again. And very excited today because today I've got Kaleigh and Sam with me, and these two are bakers extraordinaire here in the sourdough game, opening up a new bakery, which is Kindred Company. And today we're going to talk about bread. We're going to talk about all the great bagels that you've made and brought today that we get to try out, and kind of what the vision is and what you guys have been up to, because I'm super excited about this. This is a personally really exciting episode. I've been baking sourdough for I think 3 or 4 years now, and it's been a real journey, and I love anybody who's into it as well. So let's start with the most simple question that people are going to ask, which is sort of, how did you get into sourdough, and what's driving you to do this as a career, to do this professionally?
Well, I've been baking for a long time. I went to culinary school about 10 years ago, so all I've ever really known is kitchens. And Sam and I met at a coffee shop here in town that we both worked at and baked together, and kind of haven't stopped ever since then.
Yeah.
So we've had lots of little business venture ideas together, and this was the one that we talked about it, and we're like, this is
stuck.
it. This is the one that we're doing. So.
Same, I didn't go to culinary school, but I've been baking. My mom always baked, so I was just a home baker, but then at the coffee shop we both baked, and I've always loved the taste of sourdough, and probably when I was eating it, I didn't know if it was real sourdough or not, but
Probably not.
I would say probably not. Now that I know,
cases, right?
now that I know,
It's like half
what
and
I
half
know.
most places.
Yeah.
But I've always loved it. And one day, I actually watched the Cooked series on Netflix.
Michael Pollan.
Yes, and I love him. And he was talking about making bread, and I was just like, I need that book, and instantly I ordered it. And that's how I started with the sourdough thing, and then we both just kind of got obsessed with it almost, and we've just been working on it. And like she said, we've been thinking of all these business ventures, and sourdough came up, and we went with it.
Yeah. Well, you and I have a similar entrance then, Sam, because I came across the book first just because I love cooking, and listened to that book, and as soon as he gets into the air chapter about bread, I was just so hooked. And I think everybody's got a natural inclination towards sourdough bread. It's something we all absolutely love when we get to eat it. And then we walk away and act like it's some big mystery of, why was that so good?
Right,
we just can't understand why would certain bread be so good. And it's not until you really dive in and start to learn more about it that you realize there's reasons why it's so good and so tasty. So I had the exact same thing happen, then a complete obsession with all things fermentation and everything from scratch and all sorts of things. But what I thought was really cool about you guys is, because sourdough bread baking in a lot of ways, I believe should be available to anybody who wants to do it. Something just fell. We're not in any danger. Oh, okay, cool. I would love to see everybody feeling like sourdough bread is something that's accessible from their kitchen, because it really is. To the level that you guys are doing it, maybe not so much. And then the thing I saw that was so unique is that you're making other baked goods with naturally leavened dough, which we may have to explain for people who are not familiar with that. But making croissant sourdough essentially, and the bagels that you brought in this morning, I just ate a poppy seed bagel, and it was immaculate. It was just really incredible stuff. That I think is a kind of a unique push. It's actually not something I was familiar with at all, because when you go on the internet in the sourdough bread community, it's all about just making the perfect boules of sourdough. So how did you find that window into making other types of bread beyond that real traditional?
I've definitely always been kind of one to do everything on my own. So as far as I could take it, I want to make my own cheese, and I want to ferment all my own stuff. I want to do all the own bread, and so I think just getting past the bread stuff, okay, well, we're good at baking other things, so let's just make it a little bit harder on ourselves and take out all the commercial yeast and all this stuff and see if we can do it.
Right.
And we can, so.
And just, I think, from a
Cool.
business
They really
side, that we want, I don't want to have a sourdough company and sell bagels that are made with yeast,
Right.
That just seems silly.
You guys want to be solid all the way through,
Yeah.
unquestionable.
Yeah.
So you started experimenting with that. Have you talked about what the scope of the full menu looks like on the regular? I'm sure you'll experiment with other things consistently, but I know I've seen croissants and bagels, and then obviously baguettes and boules.
Yeah.
What kind of, how far can you take it? Oh, I've seen cookies too. You've done cookies.
Yeah. So our sourdough chocolate chip cookies are
They're so
amazing.
good.
Yeah.
Like the best chocolate chip cookie
Yeah.
ever. So definitely the cookies. We also have a brownie recipe that uses sourdough starter. I'm terrible at that one. That one's all Sam. Brownies and me just like it's not
and
it's
cinnamon
not a thing.
rolls.
Oh,
Cinnamon rolls as well. The croissants.
Yeah.
Probably won't sell baguettes just because we don't have a storefront, and baguettes are good for like 3 hours.
Yeah.
So no baguettes for now, and then obviously the sourdough bread, and then one of my favorites is the swirl bread. So mostly cinnamon raisin, but then we can also do like a take on babka kind of. So different flavors on the swirl bread. That one's really pretty and popular. So yeah, we're excited about that stuff.
Yeah, that's a whole lot. And then you both have some passion for coffee as well. In fact, we're recording from, you'll have to help me with the name. Oh, nope, it's right there. Picacho Coffee Roasters
There it is.
in Las Cruces. Cool space, by the way, and I'll take some pictures of us recording here so people can see. So is coffee on the menu too? How big is the scope of the whole place?
Well, so we're, like she said, we're not going to have a storefront right now. We're actually,
storefront,
right,
order
we're renting
only.
a kitchen from
Okay.
another local business. So we're doing strictly wholesale.
Oh,
to
great,
start
okay.
off. Yeah.
So we're selling to coffee shops, restaurants,
Yeah.
a few grocery stores we have on the list.
So you guys can really just focus on getting those recipes right and like getting a following for them too before you have a storefront you got to worry about paying rent for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paying bread for.
Hoping people.
Yeah.
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 We're like using their kitchen and giving them bread.
Okay.
Which is amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
fantastic.
Shout out to Shauna at
Yeah,
Pharmacia.
at Pharmacia for that. Yeah.
So the last I had seen on Instagram, and you don't have to reveal this if you don't want, because this episode won't come out for I think 2 weeks from now.
Okay.
So you decide on your news, but I know there was big news about a space. So is that what's
I think we
been
just
going
released
on?
it right
Oh,
now.
you
I was gonna
did?
say,
I think
yeah,
that
that
just
was
happened
Like
when
before
I
I
left
came over?
Pharmacia. No, like
Yeah.
right now.
Oh, right
Well,
now.
yeah, just-
20 seconds ago.
Right.
We
Yeah,
get to
right.
premiere it live.
Yeah.
You heard it here first.
Right.
people.
Yeah.
But and then at the same time, people aren't. They will be excited for the fact that now you get to just start cranking out bread, and they'll be able to
Right.
buy it wherever they want,
Yeah.
but they don't have to worry about where they're going to come and find you. And that's
Exactly.
mostly okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, we're ready to get going. We have still some hoops to jump through. We got a big meeting at the health department tomorrow to figure out.
Whatever
What's
the
next?
next hoop is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But we're hoping
getting
it should
there.
be any time now.
So that's
we can
my
get going.
perfect segue into the health aspect of this, because we've been talking about sourdough to this point, and hopefully, if anyone doesn't know things about sourdough, they've stuck around through this 8 minutes. Because now I think we should talk about why sourdough, and that's, I think for anybody who learns it, it's hard to ignore once you start to learn what real bread is and why real bread can be just so nutritious and good for you. So, can you guys expand a little bit, since you're the experts, on what we can expect from sourdough bread in our health lives?
Sammy, that's all you.
Well, obviously that's part of our name as well. That's kind of why we went with the kind bread, because sourdough is good for your body. It's nutritious, but also because of the fermentation process that goes into making sourdough bread, when you eat that, it helps your body, the microbiome in your gut and everything like that. So it's not like store-bought bread that has 30 ingredients and who knows what they are and what you're putting into your body.
Basically, just more easily digestible.
Right, yeah. And that people even, which we haven't experimented with this or found someone that will do it, but even people that have or think that they
Gluten
have a gluten
intolerance?
intolerance that can eat sourdough most of the time because of the way the fermentation breaks down the gluten in the wheat. But like I said, we haven't officially
Right. So if
done
you have a
that
gluten
yet.
intolerance and want to maybe take a
An
chance.
unofficial test.
Yeah.
Well, maybe there's ways in PR world where I can say things that you guys may not be able to as the owners of this sourdough business, which is that we've got a huge, widespread attention on that gluten is somehow inherently bad for our bodies in this country.
Right.
And a lot of people, myself included, who believed at a time, or maybe still believe, that they've got some type of gluten intolerance, which of
Right.
course you have people with celiac disease, and that,
Right.
yes, you do in fact
Yeah.
have a gluten intolerance, but that's
Exactly.
so much more rare than we think. So I had this same journey that I think ends in a better place than a lot of people, where I wasn't feeling good and cut gluten out from my diet, just like we do. We were like, oh, maybe that's the thing that's the problem. And did feel better, like felt a lot better. And then slowly started to realize it's not actually the gluten, which is in itself just a protein. It's the way I was eating the gluten, which is that we're using essentially Fleischmann's conventional baker's yeast since literally like the Civil War.
Right.
And it's that one strain of yeast that's in all the beers and all of the breads to essentially make the fermentation process happen in like a few hours, as opposed to what it should be, which may be like a few days.
Yeah.
So we're just not breaking down the gluten. And then once you switch over to sourdough bread, and I have successfully done that, and now sourdough is a staple for myself and Andrea, my wife, and that's like, we eat that every single day and feel great
Right.
because that gluten is broken down by the wild yeast that is able to do that more effectively. So if you have no knowledge of sourdough, I highly recommend you check this out. If you're worried about gluten intolerance, highly recommend that you check this out, and maybe even try kind bread, because you might find that gluten as a protein is not as evil as we've come to believe. Am I off track there, or was that?
No, I
you're
think that's great.
You're totally on it.
Yeah. Yeah, this is the new science is actually less scary. It's just sort of like, no, it's the process. It's what's
Right.
in the bread. You go buy like a loaf of store-bought white bread, and the list is so scary long.
It is, yeah.
We've also stripped away all the minerals and nutrients and then added them back in like
Right,
pill
yeah.
form at the end,
Yeah.
which is why it's all enriched now. So,
Yeah. Yeah. Makes no sense.
yeah.
There's also stuff out there that's called sourdough, but also has that long list. So,
Yeah.
you know.
So
you're
tell
not
us
racist.
Be wary.
the famous list of what's in sourdough bread. Anybody who's in the world of sourdough knows the ingredients list.
That would be flour, water, and salt. A lot of your time,
Yeah,
Yep.
a lot of
some
time.
patience. That's about all you need.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm huge on fermentation. I'm just like you, Kaleigh, that I've been fermenting my own everything for
Anything
as
and
long as
everything.
I can.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's some weird stuff on top of my fridge.
I think mine started with kombucha that I accidentally drank once and then got obsessed with how it's made, and I was like, wait,
Yeah.
sweet tea but good for you? Okay, yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And then moved into sourdough, and I've done kefir and a few other things. How far does your fermentation range go?
Oh,
There was something I saw something about like habaneros and
yeah.
It's
It's real
forgetting.
deep. It's like a rabbit hole.
Well, I'm a terrible gardener, and the only thing that I successfully grew this year were habaneros, which is awful because nobody just eats habaneros all the time.
I can't handle it at all.
Yeah, exactly. That's
Like, I'll be sick.
usually the response.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right,
I'm
no
way too
one's
white for
taking all
habaneros,
of these
frankly.
habaneros that I'm giving out, so I got to figure something out. So I ended up just fermenting. I think it was 7 pounds of habaneros, which is a ton.
Wow.
And made some hot sauce and handed it out, and it was awesome. So that one was a lot of fun. I've done lots of like honey garlic type stuff, which is really good on sourdough pizza crust. Honey garlic pizza.
Mm-hmm.
That's where it's at. Lots of sauerkraut, pickles, lots of pickling stuff like that. My next venture, though, once we get our baking in the actual like commercial kitchen and not in our houses, just practicing
Right.
and making too much bread for any household.
Yeah.
Right.
My designated bread fridge is going to be a cheese fridge, so we're going to have some cheddar this summer.
And when you're talking
Hopefully.
cheese, you're talking like
Hard cheese,
Like raw
wax
milk,
on it.
wood paddle,
Get
the
into
whole
it.
thing.
Yeah.
That can be dangerous.
Oh,
Are you
yes.
worried?
A little bit, but
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not gonna figure it out till I do it. So
Yeah.
we'll try it out.
I think so. For most people who are familiar with types of fermentation, like traditionally, people are aware of pickling and like
Yeah.
brining things, and essentially just putting them in salt water and also vinegar. Do you go that next step and go to like full on fermentation where you're worried about the bacterial content and all those things?
100%. Yeah, definitely. There's airlocks all over the place, and I'm constantly burping things on top
Yeah.
of my fridge. Like,
Yep.
yeah, there's bubbles and weird things. I've definitely had some things go wrong.
You had anything explode yet?
No.
Fully explode out of the glass container?
Nothing's
I've never had it.
exploded. Yeah. I feel like if I try kombucha, it might happen. I haven't done it yet.
I had one bad experience when I lived in Denver and got on a business trip for a week, and I had forgotten to put them in the fridge before I go. Because as long as I put them in the fridge, they don't really bubble up too intensely. I came back and I opened one and I was like, that's not so bad. And I closed it again. And I opened it 2 seconds later after all the oxygen had hit.
Yeah.
And raspberries and kombucha flew up to my ceiling and covered the whole place.
Oh,
So
man.
that has happened. But that was user error.
Right.
You know,
It
that's just me being an
usually
idiot.
is.
It's not.
Yeah.
It's not the fault of
Knock
the
on wood.
kombucha.
Hasn't
Yeah.
happened to me yet.
Right.
So
Okay, so
Yeah.
cheese is next.
cheese is next. I'm into it.
I'm trying to think if there are other. I mean, chocolate. That would be another area of. Isn't that traditionally fermentation in some form?
I guess. Wow, chocolate might be like
I
some
was
weird
gonna say that
mashup of
would
fermentation
be-
and coffee roasting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My two
I was gonna
loves.
say, yeah, the
Well, I don't know.
That might be.
I-
perfect.
yeah, might be a thing. Make our own chocolate to put in our babka.
I mean, now we're really talking.
I was gonna
getting
say
there.
we're getting there.
As a
Yeah.
ground up. I feel like if there was one thing I wish everybody did when they go to the store and buy their food, it would just be take the 2 seconds to turn the package around and just look at the ingredients list. I feel like growing up, health classes from public school and all those things were focused on that. Nutrition facts,
Yeah.
how many calories, how much fat, how much protein, carbs, and those are important to know too. But it's really about what's in there more than what's not in there, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, 100%.
So it sounds like you guys are really on board, and that's what made me really excited to talk to you, because I was like, oh, these guys care about every ingredient that's going in this thing.
Oh yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So to help people kind of understand then the fermentation process, just a little bit, we don't have to get too science here, but my understanding of it is essentially you need a sugar and a bacteria to eat the sugar and then produce byproducts. That's essentially all it is, right? But it gets more complicated when you do stuff like you do with your pickling and different things. Like, what's happening in that process?
Who knows?
It just tastes good
Yeah.
at the end.
I mean, yeah.
I just sent her to a land where she's thinking very hard. It wasn't a trick question. I was just curious.
I guess what you said. There's a bacteria, and then there's the sugar, and it's producing something, and it's
Right.
off gassing, right? So that's why you have to do the burping and the airlocks and all that stuff, and you're trying to get the good bacteria to win out over the bad bacteria. Basically, is like the goal of fermentation.
Right.
Whether it's kombucha or sauerkraut or bread, even. So, like for our starters, for instance, are a few years old. Mine's name is Rhonda. Sam's name is
Oh, you got a name.
Tony.
Yeah, Tony.
Tony
Yeah.
and Rhonda.
Tony and Rhonda.
I think I named mine Yeezus
Oh, it's a
because
good
it
one.
rose
There you
again.
go.
Like,
Yeah, there's some really good
That's
starter
awesome.
names
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
Like Rhonda and Tony are pretty
Yeah.
tame.
those are solid. Have you ever
yeah.
killed your starter? You ever been there?
Oh, Rhonda's been
Nah,
good.
I was gonna
Come
say
close.
the very first
Yeah.
one I did, like right after I found, like I was really into it for a couple months, and then I forgot about it.
Yeah.
But no, since I did Tony though, he's been alive for a couple years now.
I've got a really gross rye starter in my fridge right now that I'm really not sure if it's
If it's good.
available to come back to life.
Somehow they're still always alive. I'd forgotten for a month, and then you go feed it again, it's ready. And
They're
I
forgetting.
feel, again, I've skipped a basic step for anybody who's not into sourdough, which is that starter is it is our version of yeast,
Right,
because
it
it's
is.
where we
Mhm.
keep the bacteria alive, and you just regularly feed it
It's a
gluten.
pet. It is a pet.
Yeah.
It's
Feed
like
it
a
a meal
baby.
every day.
It's more than a pet.
Yeah.
I think this is
child.
culturally hard to accept in the West for some reason, that you're eating things that are alive. But that doesn't seem to
yeah.
scare you guys. Was there a point where, I mean, so growing up, were you always this enlightened, or did this happen at some point? You learned all these things.
This is definitely not a thing for me growing up.
Oh, no.
We
I
didn't have
mean-
things fermenting around the house.
I did a little bit. My mom did some pickling and canning and stuff like that, but nothing like to the level that we're doing. Not at all.
Yeah, I think it's just that curiosity that we both have.
Yeah.
Like, where does this come from? How do we make it better?
Yeah, like what? How? Yeah.
It's kind of where it all stemmed from.
I'm just thinking about how I can dive into that, because it doesn't just happen though. Like, are you both like science minded, and this is like you have to understand the process, or
I
maybe you just
am.
love food? That
I definitely don't have.
I was gonna
mean,
say, but it's more the food thing. I think. Like I'm science minded. In the side note, I'm a athletic trainer, so like science on that side. But like when it comes to like I don't know, biology, chemistry, that kind of stuff. Like, I understand it, like, I enjoy it, but that's not at all why I got into this. It's all about food, for
Yeah,
sure.
same. Same. It all started with the food. Yeah, that's all I've ever really wanted to do was just feed people. So
Yeah,
I
create
think,
something that everyone enjoys, and if I can make it better,
Yeah.
make it better.
and there's a lot of creativity that goes into it. Even just sourdough loaves. I mean, from the beginning to the end, you have like epic amounts of creativity that you're allowed, I guess.
Right, yeah.
Um,
Create your own process on, basically from when you start your starter to making a loaf, like, that's all your process. Like, you don't have to follow anyone else's. You can pretty much do whatever you want
and see what happens.
and see how it turns out.
And it is it's an individual thing. I mean,
Absolutely.
your starters themselves have a unique
Right.
character that tastes different from my starter because of the bacteria that's in the air or on my hands or wherever we
Yeah.
happen to be.
Right.
I think people always talk about San Francisco as the home of sourdough, and there's I forget the specific strand of bacteria, but it's named after San Francisco. It's like,
Right.
oh man, it's gonna kill me that I can't remember this, but it's like San Franciscanthus or
Something like
That
that.
works.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
because starter is something that's different for everybody, and that's how you distinguish different bakeries from their starter.
Right.
That's what's bringing the flavor, and the schedule that you feed it on, and when you make,
I was just saying, when you use it to make the bread,
how does
all
it
of
taste and smell at that point, and what's going on, and so I feel like starter is almost proprietary. And what was funny is I was diving your Instagram because I do my best to prepare and know things about you, but I noticed someone commented and was like, are you guys going to sell starter? And if this was me, I'd be like, hell no, I'm not selling my starter.
Yeah.
Like, but maybe I'm very possessive and selfish in that way.
I don't know. I go back and forth on it. I mean,
Yeah.
I feel more like you. I'm like, nah.
Because isn't that the character of
Yeah,
the bread
like,
I'm
start
making?
your
Like,
own.
start your own
Yeah.
bakery, dude.
Yeah.
In a way, but at the same time, I mean, if it was a family member, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Kinda
and
much.
I mean, if you give someone, whatever they do to it in their house, and like, it's going to be different than what you give them initially anyway. But
my thought on it too is just that we know how much work it takes to, one, keep a starter alive,
Yeah.
and to, two,
Right.
even get to a point where you can actually make sourdough that looks nice and tastes nice and
Right.
isn't like raw on the inside and has huge holes. It takes a
like,
lot of work.
Pancake flat or
Right.
whatever. Yeah.
And I know most people probably aren't going to
Aren't
last
gonna
very
do
long
it.
into that like whole scenario.
Yeah.
So sure, take some starter. Like,
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Give it a
Don't-
shot.
try not to kill it. I don't know.
I'm trying to think of all the levels that happen when you start being involved in sourdough. And you start with like making a starter, and then you determine like a feeding schedule, and then you got to figure out how to make your leaven, and then you got to figure out your hydration, and then you got to figure out your baking method and your folding and shaping and
Which
waiting
flours
and
you're
flours.
gonna use, how much of which.
It's no
Yeah.
joke. Like it takes serious levels of patience to make it.
Oh, yeah.
And then I don't want to think about the hours or days or weeks I've spent on the internet. Like, how are you doing that? That's great. That looks
Right.
good.
Yeah.
It's just your own process.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, I think that's what makes it really inaccessible or feel inaccessible
Yeah, it does.
for
Yeah.
people.
Yeah.
You guys would go out of business with your business if this was the case, but we'd also be a lot healthier if everybody was making sourdough for themselves
Right.
at home all the time.
Right.
And it can be doable,
Yeah.
even on a working schedule.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
If you're into it, if you want to do it.
If you
I was
want to
gonna
do
say,
it,
yeah,
If
if
you
you want
don't,
to do
it's-
it, yeah.
that's really true.
it's-
I guess
you
not
really have to
everybody.
want it.
Yeah.
And there are no, as far as we know, don't want to offend anyone, but there's no sourdough being sold in Las Cruces. That's real sourdough. And so we just felt like that was
Insane.
a place that needed to be filled.
Yeah.
And it's something that we love, and we like working together.
Yeah.
So
So
Yeah.
off you go.
here we go.
Yeah.
What's the timeline then for people who are looking to buy your bread? When can they expect to find it on some shelves, you think? And
Well, we'll probably have more info on that tomorrow. But, I mean, like I said, it should be. We've done all the paperwork, done all the things
Everything.
we're supposed to do, and now we're just waiting on the health department, really.
Yeah, we basically just have to get all of our paperwork
Yeah.
looked at and then have an inspection. And the kitchen that we're in has obviously already been inspected and approved multiple times. I'm so excited to get into that kitchen.
Yeah.
It's like cleanest, most beautiful kitchen
Yeah.
I've ever been in.
So it should
Pretty
be.
excited. So maybe in a month,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
February, March.
You guys can also, since there'll be a minute before this episode comes out, you can just text me and I'll
Yes.
Oh, for
update
sure.
the post.
We'll
and
let you
I'll-
know.
Oh, here's
Yeah.
here's when you can expect it.
Hopefully
Maybe.
we'll text you tomorrow and be like,
I was
"We're
gonna say,
making
Brad,
bread."
we did it. Yeah.
I hope you do. I
Yeah.
want to hear about it so that I can come back and because I'm only here for through the end of next week and then. But I love Las Cruces. I'm sure I'll be back and I'll be picking up your bread when I'm back.
Okay.
So you mentioned something that I was also going to ask about because you say the kitchen space is gorgeous,
It is.
and I think one of the things that makes me think, okay, these guys are going to crush it, is the visual element because everything on your Instagram looks beautiful. You guys clearly know how to take good food pictures.
We're totally just faking
I was gonna
it.
say we're winging it big time.
You would never know. You would never know.
Totally
We're
faking
also
it.
both really lucky. We suck at keeping phones nice, so we
Yeah.
have gotten new ones with the fancy cameras
Oh,
and
I
all
see.
that now. So that helps a lot. We're not taking them with like iPhone 5s anymore.
Yeah.
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 I dabbled in photography for a little while, but I liked the film aspect of it. I was like developing all my own film in my kitchen.
Oh, cool. Okay.
So I kind of know, like, all right, the light's over there, so I'll stand
Right.
here, you know.
Yeah.
That's basically it.
You are a purist then, Kaleigh.
Yeah.
Like you are the person who's like,
Yeah.
it's not enough to take a digital photo. I need to make sure it
Yeah.
exposes on the film and like
Yeah.
really.
I even bought broken cameras to fix them first,
Yeah.
and then I use them. It gets a little out of hand sometimes.
I feel like I can relate to that more than anything. But you know what I struggle with being that same type of person is sticking on one thing at a time.
Preaching.
You're gonna have to be
Yeah.
Food is the only thing
that
has
is
stuck.
fine. That sticks.
Like, food has never gone anywhere.
Yeah.
Ever. It might be, different realms of food, but it's always been food. That one's not going anywhere, for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
Cool. Okay. So obviously that visual element's gonna be important then. So you're gonna be doing lots of new photos in that kitchen, I'm assuming, and
Yeah.
have
Yeah.
lots to show
Oh,
people
yeah.
about what's going on behind the scenes. And then I'm trying to think of the wholesale process now because I had all these questions about assuming you guys are opening a storefront, which is what I had thought.
Oops, sorry.
Oh no, that's okay.
Yeah,
but I was
sorry.
like, oh, restaurant. We talk restaurants. But now there's different ways that you do wholesale because it's not just about developing that relationship up front. It's then people need to go to the store, see your product, be interested in it, and
Right.
buy it. And you don't really get to be there to intervene in that process and help them.
Yeah, I think it makes it a
With
little
that.
more difficult because you can't be face to face with someone and explain to them why sourdough is better than that loaf of white
Right.
bread that's right next to it.
Exactly.
It's probably twice the price too.
And that.
Also,
just how it
yeah.
goes.
It's
Exactly.
definitely gonna be
Yeah.
bread.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes it a little more difficult. But we did, we've both been here for a very long time. We both have worked in a lot of places and met a lot of really cool people in this town. And I think people are excited about it.
Yeah.
We started the social media stuff and we started talking to all of our people and our friends about it
Yeah.
months and months and months ago.
I was
And
gonna say, yeah, the feedback
some
we've
hype.
gotten already is pretty crazy, actually. Just that how many messages we get, just saying like, where can I buy it? What store is this at? Whatever, and we have to like, not yet. Like we're working on it. I promise.
We'll
Like
let you
you'll be able to
know.
get it, but yeah, the feedback we've gotten already, I think,
Pretty unbelievable.
Yeah, it's unbelievable, but I think it's not going to be as big of an issue as we're probably worried that it is, just because how excited everyone seems to be about it already. And we're just baking at home,
Yeah.
taking pictures in my living room.
Yeah.
Like that's, that's all we're doing right now. So I think once we actually have the commercial space and can produce the insane amount that we're already planning on, it's going to be good.
What's an example of that? Like, how many loaves have you got to crank out in a day? Are we
so-
thinking?
Tell
We
them about our
have-
first order.
Yeah. So
Oh, it goes by order. So the
Right.
stores
So
decide and they
So
tell you. I
what
don't
we're
know.
planning on right now.
That's why I'm asking.
So we're both keeping our day jobs. So this is going to be on top of making money so we can make more bread kind of thing. But so we're going to, why can't I think of the word? Plan so that every Friday we deliver or they pick up their order so they'll have it for the weekend. So we have 5, possibly 6 businesses right now that have already said they're interested in getting bread from us. So like, I talked to my boss the other day. That'll be one of the places. Hopefully, we'll have product. I was just like, just give me a general idea, like what you're thinking for stuff. He's mostly excited because it's a coffee shop. So the bagels are his main. He's like, we're gonna have so many. Like, we're gonna sell them. It's gonna be great. So just for him, he wants. So we're planning on having 5 different bagels that we're gonna make, and he wants a dozen of each for one day.
Okay.
But
but
also 10
I was gonna say, but
loaves.
also 10 loaves to sell at the coffee shop, plus chocolate chip cookies,
Brownies.
plus brownies and loaves of the swirl bread.
And then muffins.
And muffin. Yeah, we're gonna do that for him too.
And it's just the 2 of you
Yeah.
still?
Yeah.
And that's for one place.
Wow.
So we haven't talked to the other businesses yet on their possible orders, but yeah, if it's anything like that, we're gonna be busy little bees.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm trying to do the math on this too because sourdough is its own beast. So when we talk about like the idea of producing just that much bread, I'm 3 weeks ahead in how much I have to continue to increase the feeding of my personal starter to get to that level.
Right.
Because you're gonna have vats of starter.
Yeah,
Like, yeah,
huge amounts of
probably a
starter.
giant Cambro of starter.
You're gonna feed
Yeah.
it 20 pounds a day of flour, and that'll be
Yeah.
you're like 30%. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
So, but yeah, we're kind of, like I said, we haven't talked to everyone yet on exact numbers because we don't want to do that till we have all the boxes checked and have the license and all that. But
Right.
I would guess probably 10 loaves for each spot. So we're talking like 50, 60 loaves a week on top of all the other stuff.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this commercial kitchen space then must have well, you said you guys swear a lot, so a shitload of
Yeah.
of ovens.
We have
say
one
we've
oven.
You have one oven that can cook 40 loaves at once, or what? No.
Maybe,
Yeah.
No.
maybe 4.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna be. We're gonna be drinking a lot of coffee.
Yeah. Because with sourdough, you've got to have the schedule of like, when am I shaping that one?
Right.
When am I shaping these 4 so that they'll go in the oven at this time?
Yeah.
And then I've got to be mixing the dough for the other ones back here and turning that
Yeah.
and doing bulk ferment.
We have a
and-
we have a loose schedule
Yeah,
of what it's gonna look
like-
like. We really need just like, and it'll happen soon.
Yeah.
Obviously before we start selling, but a week. So the way it's gonna work is we have 3 days in this kitchen. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. What we're kind of thinking is Tuesday we'll mix all of our leavens, all that kind of thing, and then probably do the muffins because we could do that in our sleep.
Yeah.
Muffins, cinnamon rolls, cookies, easy stuff.
Like the quick stuff.
and just like get it
Yeah.
out of the
super
way.
easy.
Yeah.
Right. For them, you guys. For them.
And then Wednesday, Thursday. Wednesday will probably be like the
The crazy day.
get up and
Yeah.
go. Like everything's being shaped, everything's getting in their baskets and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And then Thursday
And then
just we'll be
bake.
staring at the oven for
Yeah.
12 hours.
What kind of oven are you working with? Do you have like is it a steam injection oven, like a full on?
No.
So how are you working the oven spring?
We're just gonna spray some water in
Yeah.
there.
Yeah.
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 You guys don't do like the Dutch oven method or anything like that?
We could,
I was
but
gonna
not
say
for that
not
many
for
loaves.
as many as we're gonna have
Yeah, it's
to
gonna
do.
take too long.
Yeah.
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 I've totally put away my Dutch ovens in preparation for not using it.
Yeah.
So,
So
the
you're cooking
past
on,
like 100
like,
loaves
steel or
I've
something,
made,
or
yeah,
like-
just
okay.
a steel thing in the oven, and good results, same results.
Yeah.
I also really like being able to watch it. Like I'm a person who sits in front
Yeah,
of the oven,
she has a little
whether
stool
it's in a
and
Dutch
sits
in front
oven
of
or
the
not.
oven. Yeah.
I have stared at a Dutch oven for 25 minutes.
Well, that one I can't understand at all.
Yeah, I know.
Because you're literally just watching a Dutch oven.
Yeah, it was only once. Maybe something will happen. I don't know. I think it was too big, and I thought I was gonna like push the top up. It didn't.
That's heavy.
Yeah.
The top of.
Yeah.
So I keep doing this. I feel bad. I'm gonna have to put a warning on this episode. Like, I guess you have to know about sourdough before you listen to this,
I
or
think
else
so.
it'll make no sense.
Yeah.
We could
do a little
record another one
research.
where we like
Yeah, do like a
background.
listen
Well,
to this first.
I think we started with that, didn't we? Because we
Yeah.
said just go listen to Michael Pollan or
Right. I was
watch
gonna
the
say
show.
that. I was gonna say if they watch the cooked thing
On
or
Netflix,
read
it's
the
like half
book,
an hour. It's
either
really
way.
well
Book's
But
better.
I was gonna say the book is always better.
Yeah.
But yeah, if they watch that, they'll get enough info
Yeah.
to know what we're talking about. I think.
The dangerous thing is that once people start becoming regular customers of yours and buying these loaves and realizing how much better they feel and how good of things they're feeding to their children and all these different things, you're going to have a lot of repeat customers
Yeah.
who want this and in more frequencies. So
Right.
this is kind of an epidemic
Yeah.
in a good way for you guys.
Right. That's what we keep saying. We're like we make it sound bad, but it's in a good way.
No,
Like
it's
it's
great.
growing like crazy, and we haven't even officially started yet. But and it's a good thing.
Yeah.
We're just gonna have to figure out how to swing that. So
Danger keeps you on your toes.
yeah,
We'll be fine.
Yeah.
yeah,
work it
we'll be
out.
fine. We'll make it work.
So, so for anybody who's not familiar with sourdough, the reason that they come out so very tall, the loaves, and have all those great holes, the crumb in the center, is because you're trying to get a thing called oven spring, which is when you load into the oven and then the steam inside of your loaf, I guess, I want you guys to correct me if I'm getting this wrong, starts to heat up fast enough that it expands the whole loaf really fast. And that's part of what makes it so special. And a lot of home bakers do that in a Dutch oven like myself. But then if you've got a bigger commercial oven like you guys are talking about, you won't have time to hold the steam in with a Dutch oven. So you have to steam the whole oven itself. So
Right.
there's water in there that keeps
Yeah.
it able to do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so a trick for that is literally just a spray bottle and just spray the sides of your oven.
Right.
Yeah.
I usually do it as soon as or right before I put the loaf in. So I'll like spray it a little bit, throw a loaf in, score the next loaf, spray a little bit, put the next loaf in there.
Mhm.
And then she goes right up.
So I have a challenge for you guys today.
Okay.
Because I need help. So I formerly was in an apartment with, a normal size oven, the kind I miss every day now, that has a heating element on the bottom and a heating element on the top, which means when you cook something, it cooks super even no matter what you're cooking,
Right.
which most people have to deal with. Recently, now I live completely on the road in an RV, and my oven I measured it so I could tell you, is 14 inches wide by 14 inches deep, which is,
man.
that's not bad.
I mean, yeah,
you
that's
can do a
not
loaf in that.
terrible. Yeah.
And it's 6 inches high.
Oh.
At the most, it's 6 inches high. And when I'm talking at the most, what I mean is it's a gas-powered oven, so there's a flame that comes up from the bottom and a small steel platform that sits on top of that flame. And so with the entirety of the 6 inches, what I'm baking is right on top of a flame and the bottom burns no matter what you do. So I've purchased a Dutch oven that I had to take, the Lodge, the enamel Dutch ovens, I had to take the handle off the top.
Yeah.
And I put the screw in backwards and put some aluminum foil to hold it in so there's no
There you
hole.
go. Yeah.
And that worked okay, but I literally don't have the extra half an inch for that handle. And now I cook within that Dutch oven, but I burn the bottom no matter what I do.
You're using one with the enamel, so like the smooth
Mm-hmm.
inside. I have one of those as well, and my oven's a normal house oven.
Okay.
And if I bake bread in the enameled one versus just the cast iron, season it yourself type,
Yeah.
even Lodge, like both being Lodge, the enamel one burns every time.
Really?
Swear.
See, and I don't. Mine only do that like if I'm doing back to back. Once it gets too hot, it'll burn. But I don't have Lodge though. My in-laws spoil me. I have a Les Cruces.
Oh.
But yeah,
The pricey
yeah,
French Dutch ovens.
yeah. But
They don't even make them in France anymore. Did you know
that doesn't
that?
surprise
I think
me.
they make them in
They're too
Malaysia.
French for
right, yeah.
Yeah. It's so sad.
But I've had that happen though. But it's usually. But I'm not obviously right on have direct heat
Yeah.
on it like that though.
Yeah, I think we should build a fire and see if we
Test
can
it?
do it on that.
On top of just an open
Yeah,
outdoor
like a
Have you
fire.
ever done
Campfire?
that? I really want to.
I've never
We
done that.
should do that
I kind of want to try today.
today.
I don't have a fire ring, or else I'd say just come
I
and we'll
do.
bake
She
it together.
does.
You have a fire ring,
Yeah.
okay.
There's a little pyro over here. Likes to burn stuff.
But I think that's the issue. I can't get heat from the top, but my loaves are coming out okay, and we're
rough
eating sourdough.
Even the enamel aside, it's so close to that flame. It might
Yeah.
it might not even help to have a different
what you
pan.
could put. I mean, what? It's a little guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What could you put in there to
Oh,
like,
could I put
set
something
it
at the
on.
bottom?
Maybe like a ceramic plate or even like a steel plate like I bake on.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
Just
just
to kind of
put that
disperse the
first,
heat a little
just
bit
so
more.
that it's not sitting directly over.
These are good thoughts. Yeah, like I used
Or
to have just
even
like a
like
basic
a
baking
pizza
steel.
stone
Yeah.
or something. Just set it on that.
That would work. I'll crack it though.
Yeah.
I always crack
Well,
those.
me too.
'Cause I
If you're
bake
not
too
gonna
hot.
need it though, as long as your
It still
pan's
sticks
not
together.
directly.
Yeah, it also like it scares me. And it sounds like something exploded.
yeah,
pretty
that part's
shady.
scary.
At that point, I might as well just grab rocks from outside and just like level them out.
That's also
Or
an
that.
idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I like the ideas so far. This is good. This really isn't something you guys have to worry about. I just thought I'd share my
gonna
Well,
wisdom.
be
no, but
something
I was
that
gonna
we
say,
worry
but we're
about.
gonna think about it now.
But to offer for the home cooks who want to get into sourdough, I've managed to make a system where I make one dough, so I never have to memorize multiple recipes now. And that one dough creates two things, two creations, and I make a boule. I make these burger buns that are just to die for.
Nice.
And I've fully switched over, and all my pizza crusts are now sourdough too.
Nice.
So
Sourdough
that one
pizza is
dough,
just
and you
like
just stick it in your fridge, and then when it's the day you want to bake it,
Mm-hmm.
boom, there you go. So this is doable for people who are at home, and like
Totally.
Oh, 100%.
I'm not creating things the caliber of what you guys are, which is why I'll buy what you have made, and that'll be like a super special treat and really fun to eat sometimes. But people can get into this and can be eating healthier things and things that are just better for their body.
Yeah, I mean that's how we started. Even though we've both been professional cooks, we've both owned restaurants. We started doing sourdough for ourselves
Yeah.
because we knew it was
Because
better.
yeah, we, saw the, not even, I wouldn't call it research, but just the general information about it and dug deeper into it, and we're just like, why would I not? Like I used to, before I started sourdough, I made bread at home, but yeasted bread.
Yeah.
And then it was just like, well, why would I do that if I can do sourdough and it's better for me? So, yeah, it all initially started just because I wanted to do it for myself.
It's kind of a slippery slope from there.
Oh, big time.
Yeah, yeah.
Big time. Yeah.
Be careful, people.
Yeah.
If you don't
I
need
was
another
gonna
hobby,
say, right,
you
yeah.
try this.
And you don't want to spend,
Then just go ahead and go to Kindred and
like,
get
buy
that
all
bread.
the flour from a store.
Yeah.
I've done that before. 'Cause, yeah.
Buying all
All the
the
flour.
All of the
like going in and needing flour, and I like clear
You
out
buy
the
it all.
grocery
oh
store.
yeah.
Because we're experimenting so much. Like, I just have bags and bags of flour sitting around my house right
Same.
now.
I had to get a whole cabinet for
Yeah.
flour.
Same. Yeah.
Which brings me to my other question, because I want the recommendations from. Do you prefer chefs or bakers? Which do you prefer?
I'm just a baker, definitely not a chef.
I would say baker. I'm not a chef
Okay.
anymore.
Then I need a recommendation from the bakers. What types of flour should people be buying if they're out there looking on the shelf at your standard flours?
My favorite is King Arthur.
Oh,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I'm s-
Famous for their hotline that will supposedly answer baking questions. Although I've never tried it.
They have a hotline?
They have a number you can call. A supposedly 24/7 number. I think it's
There's
24/7.
like
Really?
grandmas answering the phone.
I have no
like,
idea. Should we call it right now and ask them a question and see if
Let's
they
ask
know?
them
Let's do
about
it.
your tiny oven.
Yeah.
But that's pretty complicated. And then all the listeners have to hear me explain that one more time.
Okay.
Let's tell them we've got a starter that smells funky.
Let's tell them
Okay.
our starter has that like weird hooch on the,
The
top.
hooch, yeah.
What do you do? Have you ever
What
gotten
do you
hooch?
do?
Yeah, yeah.
Let's ask them
What
about
am I
hooch.
supposed to do? I usually just stir it in.
Oh,
It's
I
good
don't-
stuff.
I
It's
dump it.
alcohol.
I don't like it.
Yeah.
Why?
Scares me.
Then
It
your
scares
next
you?
loaf gets you drunk.
No, I just think it's too sour. It takes it
Yeah.
to another level that I don't like.
I'm super curious. Okay, but now that I've pulled up my phone, I'll try to tell a story and find this number. So the one thing that really turned me on to sourdough, and I want everybody to know who's listening to this podcast, is I learned this insane thing from this book called The Fermented Man, which is about this dude who eats nothing but fermented food for a year, which is like literally nothing but fermented food. And he mostly eats like grilled cheese every day. It's like pretty hard to pull off. But the stat he threw in there that blew my mind is that our bodies have 10 times more bacterial cells than they do human cells. Did you
Yes.
guys know this? Yeah.
Yes.
So it's like something like, I forget, it was like 100 No, Andrea looked it up for me before I left because I was like double checking on this. I don't want to be wrong. I know it's 10 times. I feel like it's like there's 100 trillion bacteria cells, which means there's like 10 trillion human cells in us. Like we're literally more walking bacteria than we are walking human beings. That's pretty mind blowing. And we don't.
It is. It can't be like a slogan though, because I feel like that just gross people out.
I was gonna say, people be like, oh, I don't want to eat that.
Hey, walking bacteria.
Right. Yeah.
Come buy some bread.
Okay, here's the baker's hotline, and I'm not kidding.
Oh, I gotta.
I'm gonna make you guys do it.
What are we gonna ask?
So this says your bread fell flat, your cookies crumbled. Who do you turn to? King Arthur Flour. Our professional bakers are ready to guide you through any baking challenge. Call this number. It's an 855 number. We can help. It doesn't say what hours they have, but this is their list of bakers. It's a few grandmas, but it's mostly just
grandmas. Oh, look at them.
there's at least one male.
We got the one man.
So we've got some representation for the male bakers out there.
What are we gonna ask? Should we ask about the hooch?
Yeah.
We're gonna do this live on the air, people.
Oh, Sam, do it. I got nervous. I hate
what am
calling
I gonna
people.
say?
I can't get this to go on speaker.
What do I say about the hooch?
Just say you got the hooch. No, don't call it hooch, because then they'll know you know. Watery alcohol.
King Arthur Flour Bakers Hotline. This is David. How can I help you?
Hi. I just started a sourdough starter a couple days, almost a week ago, and I've got this weird brown liquid on top, and I don't know what to do.
Normal.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's just kind of like the alcohol and things that have separated out of it overnight. So you can you just stir that back in and take out and go through your regular feeding process. You did that from scratch from the recipe on our website?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so that's absolutely normal. Sometimes it can be a really dark, almost scary kind of color, but it's really normal for it to be kind of amber, and it can even be kind of blackish with like the rye flour, for example. So it's absolutely normal. You can just stir that right back in.
Okay.
Stir it down, take out your discard, and go ahead and feed it again. It'll happen from time to time. It just kind of depends on, how quickly what bacteria in there is active at one time or another.
Okay. And how long should I wait before I can try and make bread again?
You can, if you have already been making bread with it, it's absolutely fine to use. It's not it's not like a sickness or anything. It's just part of the natural process of the sourdough that happens. So once you fed it and you see it rising again and you see bubbling and activity, you can go ahead and use it in your recipe. It as long as it hasn't it hasn't changed smell at all.
Okay. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay, you have a good day.
You too.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
David pulls through.
Yeah, special thanks to David from King Arthur. That is no joke.
Really sorry we lied to you, David. We just had to test it out.
No, I think that's a great testament to what they're doing, if anything.
Well, yeah,
That was amazing.
I
It's
didn't
a
even
Sunday?
Think I was gonna say it's Sunday that they're still there
Yeah.
taking baking calls.
I'm going to use that. That's pretty excellent.
Yeah.
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 That's awesome.
You didn't know
If
about
this goes down, I'm calling King Arthur and be like,
Right.
you hiring?
Right. Yeah. There you go. Don't give us bad juju.
No, you're right.
Oh my gosh, how much could you get paid to just answer your cell phone for questions about baking throughout your day every now and then?
Probably a lot.
Yeah, you probably have to have some serious creds.
I was
Of course,
gonna say, yeah, we're
Kaleigh, you've been to
probably
culinary
not.
school and
Yeah.
are a sourdough baker, so you're more than qualified to answer those questions. Okay. Well, that answers my question. So yeah, I mean, if you're looking at your standard supermarket at the bread or at the flour you might have available to you, King Arthur's
King Arthur.
legitimate.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
They
They're
seem to
it
make a
for
good
sure.
product. I've bought gold medal stuff before when King Arthur wasn't available, but the thing you never buy is the bleached
Yeah.
Right. No.
flour, because what is the point of that?
Yes.
It's already white. It's flour.
Yeah.
What are they doing?
Yeah, yeah. We're actually, we haven't done too much work towards this, but we have a few farmers that we've been talking to. We really
Yeah.
want to use grains from the local
get
area.
local.
Maybe not for all of our loaves, just because we're not sure of how it's going to go yet.
I was gonna say, and
But hopefully
cost.
soon.
Yeah.
soon we'll have maybe just like a special, like, oh, we have loaves here today at Pharmacia that have, 20% local grains or
Yeah.
Something like that.
Do you think you'll ever get so intense that you make your own like stone mill and really like go for it?
It is
Because it sounds like something you
not
would
out
do.
of the
I was
realm
gonna
of
say
possibility.
I wouldn't rule it out. That's for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, if we can make something like that happen, we probably would. I'm sure.
Is there a big grain trade in New Mexico? I know in Colorado there was quite a bit of grain being grown, and in Utah.
Yeah, I don't know too much about it, honestly.
Yeah.
I
This
just
is
know
new.
that it's like eventually something that we would really like to do.
Yeah. And the farmers that we do know do grow it. We just don't know this like details really. Like if it's good for what we want to do. Like I don't know how many different types are
Or even where the closest mill
right
is.
or that
Yeah.
any
I
of
have
those
no
things.
idea.
So
Yeah.
we're still
Somewhere in
researching
Greece,
on
probably.
that.
Probably.
Yeah.
Because
But
he's
yeah.
building mills now. The only other flour I've tried though is I did try the Bob's Red Mill, their artisan bread flour. It's actually pretty good stuff.
I
Like
haven't tried their bread flour.
it's up my game a
I
bit.
think I did once just when I couldn't get. So it was just like a bag. I didn't like.
I like their
continue.
semolina. They have my favorite semolina
Yeah.
for sure. But I just use that for pasta.
Right.
Are you guys gonna have to worry about the grocery stores here having enough of the ingredients that you need to crank out?
Well, for
50
flour, we're definitely going to be ordering that from elsewhere. It's
Yeah.
not like we're
Smart.
going to go
Yeah.
to the Walmart or whatever for
Right.
all the flour. Plus, they don't have any there anyways. But so yeah, we're definitely ordering flour. Most of our spices, like all the toppings and everything, is actually coming from a company called Spiceology. And so that's really exciting. They have some really awesome stuff. It's a chef-run company, and so we've been following them for a long time. So that's cool. Literally all of our salt is coming
Yeah.
from them. Salt, the poppy seeds. We'll make our own everything seasoning. And then the water is, it's
Straight from Las
water.
Cruces.
Very good.
That's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Did I go too in depth? This is
Yeah.
on me, you guys.
No,
No,
God,
no.
we love talking about
Yeah.
it. It's just not many ingredients, which is
Yeah,
which
we
is
don't
cool.
have much to.
But it's good though, because then we can concentrate on where we get it.
Right.
Yeah.
And do it better.
Yeah. Be picky about what we use.
The last big thing I really want to know about is Las Cruces, because half of this podcast is just an excuse for me to get to talk to people who like some of the things I like, and often who like things I don't like, and that's also another cool type of conversation too.
Yeah.
Although I pretty much like everything. So the other aspect is the traveling aspect of this show, which is that I get to be in all these different places meeting people like you guys, and getting to show just the best of what is in this country and who's doing cool things. So what I want to know is what you love about Las Cruces, because I certainly love it here. It seems like a very cool place, but I want to know your take. I mean, sourdough, in the way that you guys are doing it, there's open markets all over the country to where you could say, oh, this is a market that's not being served and is also going to be huge in the next 5-10 years as people keep talking about the microbiome. So what has you here? Are you both born and raised here? Is this home?
It's kind of home for me. I was born on the East Coast, but spent most of my life here. I just love the people who now are our age, and they're pushing 30 and sticking around and starting their own businesses and really wanting our community to grow. For the longest time, when we were growing up, it was always like, oh, we're getting out of town. We're moving away. A lot of us did, and a lot of us came back and are starting things. And it's more than just a little retirement college town now, which I like. And it's just going to get even better.
Yeah.
Really seems to be growing here.
Yeah.
From what I
big
can tell.
time.
And in a good way. There's lots of little artisan things. I have lots of friends who are doing screen printing, and so many artists in town, and
Yeah.
good breweries, and just people doing creative things that
Yeah.
are good for community. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty stoked on that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like now I've gotten to the place where I can gauge, I think, semi-realistically the energy of various towns that I go to. And you can tell certain ones that's like, oh, this is the next whatever. Everybody, I think I compare everything to like Austin because of what's been happening there. So it's like, okay, this is the next. And I was in Tyler, Texas, which is where I started this podcast. And I felt that exact same energy. I was like, uh-oh, people are about to find out about Tyler in a big way. And Las Cruces feels the same way. I had never heard of it.
Yeah.
And now visiting and looking around, I'm like, there's some serious creative energy happening in this town.
I moved here, it's 2020. I moved here 10 years ago from Montana to go to school. And left and came back, and it's definitely got a different energy now than when I first moved here. It was obviously bigger than anywhere I'd ever lived growing up. But it still had that, and it still kind of does in a good way, the small town feel. Like it, even though it's big and growing, like it still feels kind of small. But now there's just this new energy that it's just like she said, like all the people our age, even a little younger, like we're all just like wanting to do something. And because Cruces doesn't have a lot of stuff just yet, we're all just like grabbing at it. And I think pretty soon it's gonna just explode to not anything giant, but
Yeah, I'm not looking for Austin.
right, yeah, not that Austin
In a way
energy.
you don't hope it
yeah,
goes there, because
right.
it's like,
But
just have to
it's
lose
definitely getting to be, I think, somewhere that not that caters to us, but is more accessible for a younger crowd. Because like when I moved here, it was definitely, and it still is, a retirement community. But just with the university, and now that some of the kids that are out of school or whatever are sticking around and trying to do some new cool stuff, like it doesn't have that boring, like, yeah, I'm gonna go visit my grandparents in Las Cruces kind of thing,
I
you know?
think there's more pride here now than what I see when I was growing up.
yeah.
So there's people who they're proud to have said, like, yeah, I started this in Cruces, and
Yeah.
I'm staying here. You know,
That's the
this is
cool way
it.
to say it. I always say Las Cruces, but I'm just supposed to say, oh, I'm in Cruces.
Sorry.
Cruces, yeah,
There
yeah,
you go. Now you know.
yeah.
These guys are very trendy. I feel real out trended in
Oh,
this space.
if,
So
if
You
we're
are wrong,
trendy,
sir.
I was gonna say, I don't, we are not the cool kids by any means.
well, I certainly think you are. We really nerded out on bread today. I appreciate you letting me just do that, because it's
Always.
fun for me. I'm super in that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's good to have someone else to talk to about it, because
It's
usually
just
it's just us texting back and forth, and
Right.
you know,
We're both in our kitchens. How's
yeah,
yours look?
yeah. What's going on? What's your dough look like?
I-
What's it? Yeah.
Would really like to be in on that text chain if you ever
Oh,
have the need to
100%.
talk about it.
100%.
I'll show you my struggles with the beautiful loaf on top, and then I turn it over, it's just black, and you're like, okay, cool, good start. Once again, if you are in or near the Cruces area, then definitely check these guys out once they get up and running, because you're going to want to get this bread, and you want to get in on the ground floor and make sure you're one of those regular customers before they get super busy. So find your hookup, I guess, so you can keep buying this bread and give some nutrition to your family. I think that's probably good for now. I'm gonna say bye and finish off this poppy seed bagel that you gave me. I thought it'd be nice, mostly if we don't chew on the episode.
Yeah.
Some people have a real thing where that's a problem.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it like drives them. Yeah.
Yeah, there's
I
a
think
word
we're
for it
those
too.
people.
Does
I was
it?
gonna say probably if I heard it, like I would think it's funny if I did it, but if I actually listened to it, then I'd be like, no.
But then you've got the other end of the scale where people are whispering into microphones, and it's like a whole.
Right.
No,
Yeah.
no.
Okay, very good. Well, thank you very much to Kaleigh and Sam, and also a special thank you to Picacho Coffee Roasters for letting us use the space. That's very cool. Today, check out the bread, check out Las Cruces, and the last thing I need to do, I almost forgot this, I almost just wrapped it, was I need to get whatever social medias you guys want so people can come and find you.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
remind us the Instagram handle and things like that.
So the Instagram is just Kind Bread Co. Our profile pictures, our logo of teal, and it says Kind Bread Co. So as far as we know, there's not another one or similar name, so we should
it's
be
just us.
the top option.
Yeah, and then Facebook is just Kind Bread. So, pretty simple.
Perfect. And I'll be posting some pictures of the podcast on at T Hickson Life on Instagram. You can always follow along with the podcast and join us for another episode sometime. Thanks to both of you for being on. It's been a lot of fun.
You, Tyler.
And we will see you all on the next episode.